Today we're in San Francisco, California.
And we're eating at one of the country's most celebrated 3 Michelin star restaurants, Atelier Crenne.
Chef Crenn's rise reads like a Hollywood movie. She's the only American woman to win 3 Michelin stars in history. She's been named the best female chef in the world. She has her own Netflix documentary, been an Iron Chef, and even consulted for the acclaimed horror movie The Menu.
With these credentials, we expected this meal to be near perfection. By the end of the meal, we realized our review is going to be a little controversial.
Walking into Atelier Crenne, the space is smaller than you expect. The tables are close together, and unique design elements underwhelm in real life.
Today, we'll be eating a 19-course pescatarian, dairy-free tasting menu, highlighting regions in Central and Northern California at a price of $475 US per person.
Let's get started. First, a play on the cocktail Key Royale. Here, apple juice instead of champagne, encased in a cocoa butter shell.
Chef Crenn is from Brittany, so we call Key Breton instead. It's just gonna melt right there on your palate.
Refreshing, nice cocoa butter on the outside.
It's a shot in a sphere. Beautiful, really fresh.
And quickly to follow, our first dish, 2 small recreated cherry bombs, or roasted peppers from San Joaquin Valley.
When you sit down at a restaurant of this caliber, you expect to be wowed. The opening sequence of a 3 Michelin restaurant is their opportunity for great first impressions. Just look at Cren's colleagues in California. This is Addison. And look at what's waiting for you when you first sit down at Single Thread.
And at Crenn, this is the opening sequence. We traveled to Point Reyes along the northern coast to enjoy one of Crenn's favorite ingredients, the oyster.
Faux oyster shell from Champagne Mignonette that we've frozen with liquid nitrogen, oyster belly from Point Reyes. A lemon gel, we have lovage gel, and a Champagne Mignonette gel. So it sort of tastes like a fully loaded oyster.
That's a lot of sea. That's too much sea.
One of the rare times Layla and I disagree. I love that dish. If you were on the beach, it was in the winter, cold salinity to it. So it's very creative.
Next, a carrot and pea taco with produce from Chef Crenn's own Bluebell Farm in Sonoma that uses organic and regenerative practices to produce the freshest ingredients to supply to the restaurant.
There's a smoked carrot puree in the middle with some batarga, English peas, tossed in a sherry vinegar, some cured egg yolk as well.
When you eat vegetables picked fresh from the chef's own farm, you expect an explosion of flavors.
This was a bit soft, unidimensional, and frankly lacked the flavor we were expecting. Now it's off to Monterey, where they source crab for this next course.
This is 3 unique preparations of Dungeness crab. This is a savory ice cream with trout roe and fennel flour, tapioca crisp, tomato, chili, and crab powder, with a crab miso underneath, and finally, just a very humble broth.
The ice cream almost has a semi-Fredo consistency.
Cold ice cream, hot broth, crispy cracker, everything in between, bit of Papa Roe. This is a great dish. It's back to Bluebell Farm for a beet course. Beet ceviche, huckberry jam, preserved plum powder. Overall, this was extremely acidic and mouth-puckeringly sour. Not much else going on, to be honest. A roasted beet, dehydrated, fermented, reconstituted in fortified wine and beet juice.
Again, we're at one of the best restaurants in the country, and they've chosen to highlight a single beet. The beet is poorly peeled with gouges, and they've chosen to use one garnish, but it was wilted. The third dish, interestingly, not a beet. A tempura fried perilla leaf or shisho, mole made from blackened pepper and spices. A tomato dish, showcasing the different flavors and varietals of tomato and basil. Roasted, pickled, stuffed with trout, and marinated. The recreated vine from basil puree, topped with nasturtium flowers and fresh basil. Trout broth, puffed quinoa, and salty trout flakes.
So as soon as you eat it, you get a very heavy smoked trout flavor. It disappears immediately, and then it's just tomato acid and crunchy basil. Very creative, very fun. Trout with plankton. I mean, at face value, there's not much going on here. The trout is fresh. It's a bit bland for me.
The abalone brings your memories of being back at home in Brittany, France. Mustard seed, tarragon, abalone livers, and then abalone XO. Underneath everything, a little bit of sauerkraut made with cabbage from our farm.
The next sequence was build your own bao. Dry-aged black cod, glazed in a caramel sauce, grilled over binchotan. This was served with a fresh steamed bao bun, kimchi, marigold flowers, preserved plums, and sesame vinaigrette herb salad. This looked like it was going to be a lot of fun.
Unfortunately, this is what happened.
It's okay. Just for the record, I don't know what I'm doing with the rest of that fish.
It's not smushable. Oh no, this is a mess. Flavor profile, the bao was dry, and overall the dish was very salty.
No. The single tiny bao you can see was not nearly enough to hold all the ingredients on the table. Now you're gonna say, just ask for more bao. Reasonable, but this is a 3-star Michelin restaurant. They should have thought of that for you.
Maybe this is a good time to talk about service. Here, you can see Adrian asking the server to remove the prior course because he almost walked away leaving dirty dishes on the table.
Okay, if you can believe it, that's the end of the mains.
Just to recap, the only substantial amount of protein we had this whole meal was a 1 4-ounce piece of cod.
Okay, transitioning to desserts.
Replacing the traditional cheese course, we had a small leek tart, creamy leek mousse, charred leek and buckwheat tart, and dehydrated leeks on top. It is very bland. Can't distinguish a flavor.
Yes, I have a couple of guests coming through the kitchen.
Bonsoir.
This is the courtyard, which connects everything together. As you can see, a pretty high traffic area, especially this time of night when we're getting everything ready for a whole second seating and moving other people from the first one over to Bar Crenn, where we're on the way right now.
After a gracious tour of the kitchen, we were led into the adjoining space, Bar Crenn, to enjoy a dessert sequence we were not expecting. This space was a wonderful contrast to the main dining room and a very nice way to end the meal. The vibe was a 1950s Tokyo music bar with beautiful elements including Moroccan rugs and ottomans and a gold ceiling.
The desserts were created and made by Dominique's longtime partner, Juan Contreras, who worked with her for many years prior to opening Atelier Crenn together in 2011.
5 desserts were presented in sequence. First, a tequila pressed Korean melon. A wonderful start. Exceptionally crunchy with a fresh, lingering tequila aftertaste.
Next, a playful take on pina colada, where even the wrapper was edible, made from rice paper.
Stone fruit tart, Peruvian mint, and peaches. Kakigori traditional Japanese shaved ice, topped with strawberries, basil from the farm, and a coconut condensed milk base.
A strawberry tomato basil mochi.
Incredible. Chef Juan is on point.
A sweet corn marshmallow ice cream, flavors of olive oil and lemon, and a salty finish.
I am so into these desserts.
Very whimsical. Finally, some petit fours to end the wonderful dessert sequence.
Based on our ranking system, Atelier Crenn gets an S1. To find out why, please visit our website. Thanks for watching.